announces some of the top reads of 2025. The most checked out titles in 2025 include James, a novel by Percival Everett, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, and Spirit Crossing, a novel by William Kent Kruger. But by far, the most popular book checked out this year was The Women by Kristin Hannah. Now, there's one detail that may have helped drive some of that interest. A woman from Buffalo, Minnesota helped inspire that book. Tonight, Sammy Selena brings us her story.
The Women by Kristin Hannah is Hennepin County's most borrowed book for adults, a historical fiction novel following a Vietnam Army nurse and the hopeful and at times painful moments that come with the job.
So nice to see you again. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you.
But those stories weren't always warmly received.
Kristin's book, immediately, the first week out the gate, New York Times bestseller. She was shocked. I was shocked because, who would think that we'd be so popular now after so many years?
Minnesota-born Diane Carlson Evans helped Hannah with research as an Army nurse in Vietnam herself.
If I told them what I saw and what I did, they would not believe me.
In 2024, we covered a huge celebration in Buffalo at the farm she grew up in.
This is the welcome home that I never had.
One that was long overdue after Vietnam veterans kept their war stories to themselves amid controversy.
And I didn't want to be honest. I didn't want to tell the world about the things I saw and did in Vietnam.
But in 2020, Diane worked up the courage to publish her memoir, Healing Wounds.
I'd never read a book from cover to cover until I read your book. You're awesome.
Out of the blue, New York Times bestselling author Kristin Hannah asked Diane to read the manuscript for The Women. She agreed, but with one caveat.
And I said, if I don't like it, I will tell you. I said, I have spent my entire life working towards honoring these women and telling the truth.
Diane spent a decade fighting for the Vietnam Women's Memorial on the National Mall. Last year, she received the Presidential Citizens Medal from President Biden. She was going to make sure the women captured why recognition was deserved.
The book, just the opening chapter, took me right back to Vietnam. And I was right back there. And this nightmare was horrible. And I was sweating and shaking. And Mike was waking me up and he said, "You have to stop reading that book."
Against her husband's wishes, she did not, and gave Kristin Hannah her thoughts.
She was so receptive to feedback. She said, "Diane, this is just what I need to hear. This is just what I need to know."
These stories were hidden for so long and are now among the most read.
Kind of nourishes our soul that what we did really does matter.
I've read both of the books. They're wonderful. And of course, it's important for us to know about the sacrifices these women made and unfortunately still continue to make. Diane is currently battling cancer. She says it's tied to Agent Orange and has impacted the lives of so many other fellow veterans that have passed away and haven't seen this book get the popularity it's seen, and she says a lot of people are just so proud we're finally recognizing these stories.
And we are so thankful to Diane, all of the women that served, and thank you, Sammy. We'll be right back.